All right, so are you ready to like really dive deep today?
Yeah.
Because we're talking about longevity.
Oh, yeah. Let's get into it.
You sent over this amazing interview with Peter Diamandis,
Mm-hmm.
and he's like, top of the field in this whole longevity space.
For sure.
And we're not just talking about like living longer.
Right.
We're talking about like living better, healthier, more vibrantly.
Yes. Totally maximizing those healthy years. It's not just about adding years to your life.
Right.
It's about adding life to your years.
Exactly. So Diamandis has this concept right off the bat that I thought was really fascinating.
Okay.
He says, every single one of us has a number in our head
Uh-huh.
for how long we think we're going to live. Like we've set this internal limit.
Yeah. It's almost like a subconscious expectation or a preset lifespan.
Yeah.
Where do you think that number comes from? Is it family history, societal norms? Like, what shapes that belief?
And Diamandis points to this study that shows that optimists live 15% longer. So it really makes you think, like, can our beliefs about longevity actually, like, impact our health span?
I mean, that's a pretty powerful statistic. It really suggests that our mindset can play a significant role.
Totally. But then he, like, takes it a step further, and he brings in this whole evolutionary perspective.
Okay.
He's like, humans weren't designed to live this long.
That's true. For the vast majority of human history, the average lifespan was only 30 years.
30 years.
Yeah. Think about that. Our ancestors were facing constant threats. Predators, starvation disease. Their bodies were wired for survival in the short term, not necessarily for, extended longevity.
So, like, our whole view of aging is kind of messed up.
Right. It's a completely different context now. We're living in a time of abundance and relative safety compared to our ancestors. So the question becomes, how do we adapt our modern lifestyles to better align with our evolutionary biology?
And Diamandis gets into some really cool tips.
Yeah.
Starting with what he calls the sequence secret for eating.
Okay, I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
You eat your veggies first,
Yeah.
then your protein, and then your carbs.
Huh. Interesting. So he's talking about the order in which we consume food.
Yeah. And he says it can naturally boost something called GLP-1.
Oh, GLP-1. That's a hormone that plays a key role in regulating blood sugar and appetite. It's actually the target of some popular weight loss drugs.
So we can get like similar benefits just by switching up the order we eat.
It's amazing how something so simple can have such a profound impact on our biology.
That's like hacking our biology.
Exactly. Instead of relying solely on external interventions like medication, we can tap into our body's natural mechanisms for regulating hunger and energy.
I love that.
Me too. It's empowering.
But he doesn't stop with food.
Okay.
He also talks about like being mindful of the information that we consume.
Ah, I see. So it's not just about what we put into our bodies, but also what we put into our minds.
Exactly. He's like, watch out for that negativity bias in the news media.
Right. All that doom and gloom can really weigh us down. It's like feeding our minds junk food.
And that's where things like, mindfulness practices and reducing stress and cultivating a positive outlook come in.
It's about recognizing that our mental and emotional states have a direct impact on our physical health. There's a growing body of research highlighting the connection between stress mindset and longevity.
So it's like curating our information diet just as carefully as we curate our food choices.
Exactly. It's all interconnected.
And Diamandis even goes into some of his own biohacking routines,
Oh, yeah. He's really into that.
talking about things like supplements, red light therapy, even a vagal nerve stimulator.
Wow. He's definitely exploring the cutting edge of longevity interventions. But I think it's important to remember that these tools are often most effective when combined with those foundational habits,
Right.
like sleep, diet, exercise, and of course, a positive mindset.
Totally. It's like building a solid foundation first.
Exactly. And then you can start experimenting with those more advanced techniques.
And you know what? I think we should dive into those foundational habits next.
Sounds good to me. Let's do it. It's amazing how he can blend all that, super high-tech stuff with this basic everyday thing.
Right. It's not like one or the other.
Yeah,
It's like they all work together.
exactly. Finding that synergy.
And I have to admit, like some of those tests he talked about at Fountain Life sounded kind of cool.
Oh, yeah.
Ah.
The full body MRI and all that stuff.
Yeah. Like I kind of want to try that.
Right. Well, and especially that statistic about the 2% of people finding out they have cancer.
Right. That was crazy.
Early detection is huge.
Yeah. But he makes a good point. Like, even with all that technology, the foundation is still, sleep, diet, exercise, mindset.
Absolutely. Those are non-negotiables.
So let's get into some of that stuff.
Yeah.
Like Sleep Diamandis calls it the most underrated longevity intervention.
Oh, for sure. Sleep is crucial.
And he says, like, create a sleep sanctuary, control your light exposure, stick to consistent sleep-wake routines.
It's about respecting our natural circadian rhythms, which can be tough in our modern world with all the artificial light and late-night screen time.
Right. Totally. Like, I'm definitely guilty of scrolling on my phone before bed.
Well, and that blue light can really mess with our melatonin production, making it harder to fall asleep and stay asleep.
So it's like we have to be intentional about sleep.
Yeah, not just squeezing it in whenever we can.
He even has this whole routine. He wears blue-blocking glasses, adjusts the room temperature.
He's really dialed it in.
And he connects sleep to willpower, too. Like he says, we're more likely to make healthy choices when we're well-rested.
That makes sense. When we're sleep deprived, our willpower is depleted. We're more likely to give in to cravings and make impulsive decisions.
Totally. By like 8 p.m., that voice in my head saying just one slice of pizza won't hurt is like screaming at me.
And Diamandis warns against negotiating with yourself in those moments of weakness.
Yeah, like just don't even go there.
Right. Have a strong why to keep you motivated. And rely on pre-established routines to bypass those impulsive decisions.
So instead of like battling it out every night, you've already made the decision.
Exactly. Habits and routines are powerful tools for behavior change.
Okay. But I got to ask about this. He mentions taking 75 supplements and pills a day.
75. That's a lot.
Yeah, it seems a little extreme.
Well, he does explain that it's a personalized regimen, developed in consultation with his medical team.
Okay, so
Yeah.
he's not saying everyone needs to do that.
Right. He's highlighting the potential of personalized medicine and how we might approach supplementation in the future.
And he predicts that AI will be able to create individualized supplement protocols.
Yeah, based on our unique biology. That's pretty exciting.
But if you had to pick like 5 supplements for longevity, what would they be?
Ooh, that's tough. It really depends on the individual. But some common ones that come up are vitamin D, omega-3s, and some form of NAD plus booster. But always consult with a healthcare professional before starting any new supplement regimen.
Good advice.
Yeah.
And he also talks about the importance of regular blood work and testing, even if you feel healthy.
Absolutely. It's
Right.
about proactive prevention, catching those potential issues early on.
He's like, our bodies are really good at hiding early signs of disease.
It's true. We can be walking around with things brewing under the surface without even realizing it.
And he mentioned some pretty intense tests like full-body MRIs, coronary CT scans.
Wow. They're really looking for everything.
Yeah, it's comprehensive.
From tumors and aneurysms to early signs of cognitive decline and metabolic disease.
And it all ties back to that statistic about the 2% of people finding cancer.
Right. It's like Diamandis says, don't die from something stupid.
Early detection can make a huge difference.
Huge. And speaking of optimizing our health, what about all these new longevity therapeutics?
Yeah, the gene therapy stem cell treatments.
It feels like we're on the verge of a revolution.
Diamandis says Fountain Life is even partnering with companies doing clinical trials.
Wow. So they're giving their members access to the latest advancements?
It's like a concierge service for extending your lifespan.
That's one way to put it. But I think it reflects a bigger shift in how we view aging.
Like we don't have to just accept it.
Right. We can potentially influence it, even delay it.
But with all this talk about living longer, I wonder if people are thinking about what they'd actually do with those extra years.
That's a great question.
Like what makes a longer life worth living?
I think that's something we should definitely explore.
Yeah, it's like what's the point of living longer if you don't have something you're excited about?
Right, exactly. And Diamandis himself connects it to his passion for space exploration. Like he wants to see humans become a multiplanetary species. He wants to be around to witness it.
That's a pretty awesome why.
Right. It's like this grand vision for the future of humanity.
But he also talks about like the simple things, you know, spending time with loved ones, watching his kids grow, maybe even meeting future generations.
It's about finding that meaning and purpose. Whatever resonates with you personally.
Not just living longer, but having something to live for.
Exactly. And he's big on cultivating positive emotions, practicing gratitude.
Yeah, he has a whole chapter in his book about happiness hormones.
It's a reminder that our mental and emotional well-being are so connected to our physical health.
Like when we feel happy and fulfilled and grateful.
We make healthier choices.
Yeah, it all feeds back into that idea of living a life worth living.
Absolutely. Quality over quantity.
So we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive.
Oh, sure.
Like from mindset to the latest longevity science.
Mm-hmm.
As we wrap up, what are some things people can actually take away from this conversation?
I think the biggest thing is realizing that we have more control than we think
Yeah.
over our health and lifespan.
We're not just victims of circumstance.
Right, whether it's making small changes to our diet and exercise habits, or prioritizing sleep and stress management,
Right.
or even exploring some of those cutting-edge interventions.
There are things we can do right now.
Exactly.
Start extending our health span.
It's about being proactive.
Yeah, owning our health journey.
And that sense of ownership can be really empowering.
I love how Diamandis leaves us with this question. If you had 50 extra healthy years, what would you do with them?
Ooh, that's a good one.
It really makes you think.
It does. It makes you think about your priorities.
Yeah.
What really matters to you.
So there you have it. A deep dive into longevity and health span.
We've talked about cutting-edge science, practical tips, big questions about what it means to live a longer, healthier, more fulfilling life.
But ultimately the message is this. The future of aging is in our hands.
It's up to us.
By making informed choices and being proactive about our health,
We can add not just years to our lives.
but life to our years.
Well said.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time.